we had the scam going on. I went off on, after that Katie saw what she saw at Boone, I started sending voice statements to Michelle's Vanoot and some other people at Boone to BJC.org, which has since caught the attention of a doctor who sent me a very weird message that basically had something to do about negligence. It was a Latin legal term about negligence. And that was all he said. And I'd never emailed this doctor. I'd never met this doctor. Never been treated by this doctor. I'm not going to name him here. I forwarded that email to Katie. But anyway, they have since stopped billing me for all that fraudulent care. All those falsified medical records had been. When I started exploding blood and clots again on January 4th this year, and just absolutely, oh my God, the pain was just, oh, they could see it in my, you could hear it in my voice, for God's sakes. Dr. Scott comes in there. The nurse has sandbagged him. I guess they heard I'm coming in on the fly on an ambulance. Lost a lot of blood very quickly within like a 15-minute time period. My liver and kidneys were cutting up. Oh, I was so nauseated and so much pain. The nurse said, you know, we have a no recordings policy. You're not recording this, are you? I said, well, of course not. She knew I was. I said, you know, you don't have a no recordings policy. Your policy prohibits you from recording us, not the other way around. And I said, what's more, even if you did have a no recordings policy, I'm protected under the ADA because I have the information communication processing disorder. I look like I'm picking up on what you're saying. I've learned to mimic that, but I really am not processing everything that's going on. I have to go listen to the recording to figure out what really happened in here and get a view, the same view that you have, once I'm not being overstimulated by noises and sounds and trying to communicate and all that. She says, well, in that case, oh, she said, we're not billing your insurance. I'm fully insured. They're refusing to bill my insurance. Gave her a list of symptoms, even exploded and hemorrhaged in their toilet right there at the hospital. That was number 4. As far as really explosive, their toilet was black. I mean, when you looked into it, you didn't see water. You saw a big black cloud. You couldn't even see the bottom of the toilet or the walls or anything. And that was like number 4 in a matter of 30-minute time period. That level of blood loss. Oh, Lord, it was like really bad. So they refused to bill my insurance. I guess in thinking that they could go ahead and violate COBRA and falsify the medical records to hide the fact that they're violating COBRA. And Dr. Scott comes in and I go over everything with him, and I said basically everybody covered you and you covered them, so now they covered you, now they got to cover everybody, and I have a year and a half of bullshit medical records when what's really been going on is this tumor has been rupturing. And I was sent home to go septic and die, and the only reason why I'm alive is because a friend went and bought antibiotics for animals that you can get over the counter, which is exactly the same thing that you get at a pharmacy for people, only it's pure because animals are more sensitive, so you don't have a lot of the unnecessary fillers. I said that's the only reason why I'm alive. It reversed the septicemia, but I'm still having these ruptures. I said one of your providers agreed that this was the tumor bleeding, rupturing, because they're highly vascularized, and they're the only thing that can produce this amount of blood. I said, but this amount of blood is not indicative of a benign muscular fibroid. The amount of blood that I'm losing all at once so fast because I cough or sneeze or laugh, that's more indicative of a malignant tumor that are softer and have much more, capillaries and veins and stuff in them. They have much more blood flow. And I said, this sucker's at 6 centimeters. It's not 3 centimeters anymore. And I said the nurses at United absolutely agree with that. I said they're trying to find a doctor who will see me, but when I started calling around, all the doctors were like, what you've got going on is emergent. You need to be hospitalized. If you're going yellow, you're having the liver and kidney problems, this tumor's rupturing, you're hemorrhaging. They need to hospitalize you and get you into surgery and stabilize you prior to surgery and then get you hospitalized. We can't treat you here. And no private doctor has to see somebody like that. And it can happen on a dime. Right now, I'm really not in that bad of shape because I haven't been eating. I'll force myself to eat once a day because if I don't, my mood goes completely south. The gnawing feeling of the nausea and the gnawing feeling of the hunger is too much for me as an autistic person. So I have to make my food really soft and mushy and, take teeny tiny bites, and I do it once a day because immediately after I eat, I feel so full. No matter how little it is, I immediately, the pain starts and I pass out from the pain. And then I wake up and I'm feel very hungover and very miserable. So I'm probably going to have to get United to get me transportation to an out of town, probably St. Louis, OBGYN that isn't going to require a PCP referral. And that's actually kind of odd because the Jefferson City doctors that she called wanted a PCP referral. But the doctors around here up in Columbia, they don't require a PCP referral. So it's going to be a matter of me finding, once we get internet service again, our satellite's down. Nobody in the neighborhood has internet right now. Once we get our internet service again, I'm going to be calling around and trying to work with United's to get the OBGYN care. And it's not going to do me any good to get a primary doctor because all the primary doctors in town are going to roll with what happened at Family Health Center. So I'm going to keep my family doctor at Family Health Center, and they're going to do the right thing for United. Because otherwise United's going to end up paying a whole lot more, and I'm going to be tortured a whole lot longer based on falsified medical records that are going on at Family Health Center. Whereas if I keep the doctor there, which I did not terminate my care, I boycotted the false referrals, is what I was referring to, and I clarified that in future emails and phone calls. And what's more, I was heavily medicated, so they really can't stick, oh, she's autistic, we heavily medicated her, we abused her. They lied. They told Green Meadows that I was fired for making recordings without permission. And then, they tell me, oh, you terminated your care. Well, y'all better get your story straight for United. You better tell them the truth because they're going to hear it. You can tell those lies to them, but ultimately I'm going to make sure that the little bits and pieces that prove that they're lying get uploaded. And I'm going to force feed it into the news aggregators so that you're going to have a lot of patients contacting you. I'm going to put your patient relations address, email, and phone number and make sure you have plenty of patients calling you. But right now, so I didn't get treated at Boone by Dr. Scott. Basically threw up in my face that I wrote him up to the Missouri Board of Health. He's the one that didn't tell me I had the tumor in the first place. So when I ended up at Family Health Center, I couldn't sit there and say I have a tumor. But I kept saying, please send for Dr. Scott's ultrasound. And then finally they did send for it at Family Health Center. But that's all I have for now.